Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our presentation on adopting space technology down here on Earth, creating solutions to some of society's biggest challenges. Thank you for joining today. My name's Alex Bird, and I'm part of the Space Sector Response Team. And I actually also worked in Bristol for a few years, setting up our Deloitte Bristol TechWorks capability located on Redcliffe Street. If you just go to the next slide. Thanks, Sophie. And as I say, thanks for joining, everyone. We're going to spend a bit of time today talking about Gravity Challenge, our global space technology innovation program. And today we've got Sophie, who leads the Gravity Challenge day to day, Hannah and Maria, who are working to support the program from the Bristol TechWorks, and also Suraj, one of our tech leads. And together, we're going to talk a little bit about why we're interested in space. Importantly, what do we mean by space? We're going to talk a bit about space technology and how it can be used down here on Earth. Talk about some of the challenges that have been set on the current program. And then Hannah, Maria and Suraj will talk a bit about how the Bristol TechWorks team are and their involvement. And finally, we're going to tell you a bit about how you can get involved. We don't want to make this all a one-way dialogue, so please do ask us questions as we go, and we'll do our best to respond. So shall we go to the next slide? So the economics of space are changing. It's getting easier and cheaper to get satellites into space, and soon we'll have a launch capability out of Cornwall, for example, which will be coming live in the next couple of years. There's fantastic ambition in the sector from new entrants like SpaceX and OneWeb here in the UK. Also cloud technologies from partners like AWS, who are offering platform as a service ground station offerings that are lowering the cost to access and process data from satellites and from space. So space is a fantastic topic. But 50 years since humankind first set on the moon, it's no longer one of preserved governments, but it's an industry that offers something to us all. The sector is valued at over 336 billion globally, and our government have a strategy to achieve a 10% share by 2030. And so Gravity Challenge is fully behind that aspiration. And what we're trying to do is help, if we just move to the next slide. What we're trying to do is create an ecosystem where corporates, entrepreneurs, and universities can come together to design and build solutions to real industry, society, and environmental problems using space technology and capabilities. For example, Earth observation, remote sensing, satellite communications, and position navigation and timing. In the current program, and Sophie will expand on this a bit in her section, we partnered with Catapult, AWS, and it's led out of our Deloitte Ventures, our business accelerator. We also have a number of other organizations that are part of the team delivering this, and Maria will expand on that a bit. In this current program, we have 5 UK-based challenge organisations supporting 7 challenges, including the UK Hydrographic Office in the southwest, sponsoring a variety of really interesting challenges, such as tackling and understanding the changes to coastal elevation using machine learning algorithms. We had over 120 UK-based innovators registering for those challenges, accessing over 70 SMEs, over 20 webinars from AWS on machine learning and machine learning stack overview to Startup 101. 18 of those UK-based innovators have now been selected as finalists, and they're working against challenges from the UK organisations and also our Australian counterparts that are also part of this challenge program. So creating new business opportunities which didn't exist before. Just go to the next slide. So hopefully that explains a little bit about why we're doing Gravity Challenge and what it's about. So let's move the conversation on a bit to, well, what are the use cases? And I find it fascinating how, for example, satellite and aerial imagery are making it more easy for farmers to understand their agriculture, their crop yield, and to respond to improve their farming practices. At financial institutions, for example, we're talking about how can you value assets and using geospatial imagery to support that. With insurance companies, we've been talking about how can you respond better to a environmental catastrophe, again, using satellite data. With shipping firms, we're talking about how you can improve maritime routing to get containers and ships more efficiently around the world. I think the uses of space data, satellite data, have been fascinating, and we've had a really broad range of industries, from mining, agriculture, banking, telecommunications getting involved. So at this stage, I'll hand you over to Sophie, who's going to talk to you a bit more about how the program works in practice and some of the actual use cases we've got in the challenge program at the moment.
So, hello everyone. Thanks so much, Alex. Great to be here today. So my name is Sophie Lonergan, and I lead the kind of day-to-day operational delivery of Gravity Challenge here in the UK, which we of course deliver alongside our team in Australia as well. So here at Deloitte, I sit within the ventures team, which is the team at Deloitte that are really responsible for investing and partnering in the startup ecosystem. So I think Alex has given a really good overview of what Gravity Challenge actually is and why we're really doing it. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about why, the current Gravity Challenge, which is Gravity 02, and where we are now and what we have to kind of look forward to. So to start with, I wanted to share this kind of timeline with you to give you a sense of what the kind of key headlines are throughout Gravity Challenge and really just how it's structured across 3 core phases. So as you can see on the slide there with the black, yellow and grey boxes, we kick off Gravity Challenge with a recruitment phase. We then move to a challenge phase and then onwards to a pilot phase. So just then to expand a little bit on these. So the first phase, our recruitment phase at the beginning of Gravity Challenge, is really all about looking to the market to understand some of the biggest problems that our clients are facing. So in this round of Gravity Challenge, we've had 10 challenge providers come on board across the UK and Australia, and some really exciting organisations, which I'll talk to you a little bit more about shortly. So the second phase, the challenge phase, is really all about where we get into the kind of innovation. It's all about going out into the startup ecosystem and inviting and enticing the most kind of cutting edge innovation teams to join us and to enter Gravity Challenge. So in order to enter for kind of innovation teams, the idea is that they need to propose how they would look to solve these big challenges using space data, which Alex has kind of already alluded to. So that could be geospatial positioning data or satellite imagery, for example. So what happens throughout that phase, Maria will talk a little bit more about later on, but essentially we as the Gravity team provide a kind of support wrapper to teams to accelerate their proposal and to help them with their kind of collaboration with these challenge providers. And the idea, of course, is that we're working towards developing an exciting potential solution that leverages space technology and space data. So finally, at the end of the challenge phase, the teams will present their pitches, and then what happens is the kind of best teams will be invited forward to the pilot phase. In terms of the pilot phase, the aim of that phase is to help the innovation teams to take their kind of proposed solution and really look to scale that into an MVP solution, and to work closely with the challenge provider to run some kind of pilot and to start to test demand for a commercially viable scaled solution, and to get more into the detail around what that could actually look like. There's a really exciting phase, that pilot phase, and that's where we really start to see these solutions come to life. So as you can kind of see from the timeline, it's a 9-month-long program, and we are currently right at that end of that challenge phase, approaching the pilot phase. So we've got some really exciting innovator pitches to look forward to next week, and we've got over 18 teams in the UK who will be kind of pitching their solutions, which we're very excited to hear and see what kind of solutions have been proposed. So of that pool of people, what will then happen is the most successful solutions with the highest amount of potential to be scaled into commercially viable solution will then actually be taken forward to the next phase, the pilot phase, to kind of work out how that can be scaled. So keep an eye out for the announcement on the 25th of November, where we will be sharing more information publicly about which innovators are being taken forward and which challenges are kind of going to be tackled in the public domain. So keep an eye out on our Gravity website and also the LinkedIn pages if you are interested in seeing what solutions we will be helping to scale. So as promised, I wanted to share a little bit with you about the kind of challenges that we're currently working with, and a snapshot really of some of these organizations and the really exciting problems that they're currently trying to tackle as part of Gravity O2. So as you can see on the slide, we're working with a number of organizations, both across the UK and in Australia. And just to call out some of the kind of UK challenge provider organizations we're working with. So we're working with Agritech E and Agrimetrics, the Aquaculture Stewardship Council, Bardsley England, who are the largest apple producer in the UK, the Marine Stewardship Council, and the UK Hydrographic Office. So you may recognise some of these brands, particularly the ASC and the MSC, from doing a kind of weekly food shop that's often kind of branded on the packaging of the fish that you buy. So then what I'd quite like to do is just deep dive into a couple of the challenges that we're currently working on, to give you a little bit of a flavour of the kind of specific challenges that we're working on, which we think are really exciting problems to be solving in the current day and age. So one of the challenges that we're working with the UK Hydrographic Office on is actually about mapping mangroves and seagrass meadows. And this is really all about trying to track carbon storage. So I'm not a technical person myself, but what I've heard is that the kind of mangroves and seagrass that we've got in the UK and globally are key to understanding how we can store carbon and also impact climate change. So if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about this challenge, obviously head over to the Gravity website and you can also get a little bit more detail on that. Finally then, the challenge that we're working with the Aquaculture Stewardship Council on, another really fascinating challenge. And this is all about providing better data and resolution on the certification of Southeast Asian shrimp ponds. So this is all about impacting supply chain assurance and better tracking the kind of production of fish or shrimp in these ponds. And again, the idea is that this will be kind of primarily done using satellite imagery. So hopefully that gives you an idea of some of the kind of slightly wacky and out there challenges that we're currently working on. And as I say, that we're kind of working across 10 different challenges at the moment. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more about the technicalities of each of the challenges, you will be able to find that information online. So I did talk a little bit about the innovation phase and what the kind of support from Gravity team looks like and what it actually is to participate in Gravity. That now I'm going to hand over to Hannah, who's going to talk to us a little bit more about what it's like to be an innovator and really what we're hearing from our innovators as part of Gravity O2 at the moment. So over to you, Hannah.
Hi everyone. Yeah, likewise, really excited to be here working on such a stimulating challenge. So I'm a design researcher in TechWorks, and I work as part of a wider design team on all kinds of research. So from the discovery phase, where we're finding out about users' contexts and needs to develop potential digital solutions, right through to user testing of digital products. My work for Gravity Challenge so far has involved research on innovators' experience during the submission phase in particular. So we've been investigating what's worked well, any areas for improvement, mainly for an enhanced innovator experience, both in the next phase of Gravity Challenge and for the next Gravity Challenge altogether. So in doing this, the ultimate aim is really to help innovators reach their full potential whilst also enjoying the process itself. So what have we done? We conducted a series of qualitative research sessions, which were one-to-one with innovators, which just allowed us to hear about their unique personal experience of the challenge. We conducted 8 sessions in total. Within these, we were able to speak to 7 successful and 1 unsuccessful innovators. And across these, we ensured that we had a variety of group types, so ranging from PhD students and startups to older, more established companies as well. And we also ensured that they'd applied to a range of different challenges, so working across different industries. Our key research questions were what their overall experience of the submission process had been like in general, so general reflections on how they'd found it so far, anything that was particularly straightforward, any issues they'd had, and how well supported they felt both by Deloitte and the challenge providers as well. We're also looking at how accessible the submission and guidance materials were. And we explore these in relation to the Gravity Challenge platform that's specifically tailored for innovator support and information. So looking at how accessible this platform was and any user experience issues as well. So if we go on to the next slide, we can see the key findings that we had on the innovator benefits. So generally, people mentioned that the opportunity to participate in the challenge felt like a real privilege. It was a really stimulating experience working on such unique challenges, which would hopefully, result in very impactful solutions, and also on an international platform as well. Reflections were positive about the submission itself, so that felt like quite a straightforward process, and they felt well supported throughout this, obviously caveating that we spoke to mostly successful participants. So next time it'd be interesting to try and reach more of the unsuccessful ones too. They all mentioned having felt well supported in Gravity Challenge so far, both by Deloitte and the challenge providers, and they felt that it was a good relationship where they were able to reach out to both groups very easily. Additionally, the mentorship that's available to innovators throughout this challenge and from subject matter experts was seen as a real benefit and quite a unique opportunity. And this was anticipated as particularly helpful in the next stage post-submission. We also saw a high level of engagement in the webinars available on the Gravity Challenge platform. These felt really interesting and relevant to innovators. And one of the main suggestions going forwards was an increased volume of webinars from a wider range of industry experts as well. Their participation in the challenge also meant that they'd been receiving regular emails on interesting developments in the industry. And this was very much appreciated in terms of broadening their understanding of the industry as a whole, and contributing generally to organizational or personal development. So going forwards, as part of our continuous improvement of Gravity Challenge, we'll be applying these key learnings and both what worked well and what could be improved to ensure that it's an enjoyable and stimulating experience for innovators in the next phase and the next Gravity Challenge too. So that's what we've done research-wise, and we hope to continue that as we go. I'm now going to pass you on to Suraj, but I'll have to leave for that. So I'll just leave now.
Hello, everyone. So I think before my session, I would like to ask Maria to have a few words about Gravity Challenge and what our delivery partnership is all about. So over to you, Maria.
Thanks, Suraj. So I would like to cover delivery partnership bit for this presentation. And before I do that, I just want to make a quick introduction about myself. So I sit in SDNE in Deloitte, Deloitte London, and I'm a business analyst, and I have been performing the different business analyst roles throughout my career. So starting from agile business analyst to data and tech business analyst. And I'm a customer success manager. I'm performing a customer success manager role in Gravity Challenge. And I would like to cover delivery partnership and how we're fitting in this ecosystem. So the big part of what we wanted to do when we started Gravity Challenge is to create this ecosystem, which is going to have enough support for our innovators to make sure they're getting all the knowledge and information and support from different partners. So as you can see on the right-hand side, there is an ecosystem, all the different groups of people and companies which are involved in Gravity Challenge. So, for example, I would like to start with Catapult. So we're co-delivering with Catapult, who is a satellite application, and they have very strong R&D infrastructure and a lot of different partnerships, as well as space sector expertise. And we're co-delivering with Catapult to make sure that the delivery of the program is successful. Another partner we have is AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, and they're working as a technology and data providers. So they're providing their AWS platform, and they're providing all the different key domains and services that will help our innovators to solve large tech problems. Another partner we have is Maxar, and I'm really excited to talk about Maxar as well, because just to provide some stats, on a daily basis, Maxar collects more than 3 million square kilometers of high-resolution images, and this is just on a daily basis. So they're huge when it comes to imagery, and their imagery ranges from optical to radar imagery. We're also on data part, we're partnering with Airbus and Pivotal. So these are all the different partners we have so far, and we can talk endlessly about the others, but these are the ones that I wanted to highlight for now. And the way Deloitte works is that we're sitting in this ecosystem, making sure all the partners are linked to each other, and we're creating a support base for our innovators. Alongside with this partnership, Sophie, we can move to the next slide. I would like to talk about all the different types of support we're offering. And first of all, I would like to start with webinars, which Hannah has already mentioned before. We had around 24 webinars we completed in the past weeks. And as you can see, webinars are split like in 3 different sections or types. So we had challenge webinars, we had data webinars, and we had learning webinars. So I think challenge and data webinars is pretty straightforward. We had challenge providers and data providers talking more about what sort of help they can offer, what sort of, if it's a challenge provider, they would probably cover more about their industry and about their sector, what sort of business issues they have, and what sort of things they would like to have in terms of the solution. If it's a data provider, so for example, Maxar or Airbus, they will talk more about what sort of data and what sort of satellite imagery they would have. And the learning webinar, that's, I would say, my favorite one, because we had different topics covered from all the different groups of people from Deloitte, Catapult, and AWS. So, for example, AWS had a webinar on machine learning and artificial intelligence and how it could be used to solve all the different tech problems. From Deloitte side, we have different webinars on user research. We had webinars on understanding the problem and customer research. And also we had one of the teams joining from tax service to talk about R&D grants that innovators can apply for, and all the different ways of funding and investments as well. Catapult had a webinar on commercializing the idea, how to make sure that the idea is successful when we talk about commercial part. And Deloitte Ventures had a webinar talking about how they, if you have a business, how you can scale it and how you can work with bigger companies if you are a small startup. Alongside with this, we had office hours. So office hours were provided in a way of mentorship sessions. So it would be one-to-one mentor session that you can book through the platform. And we had 48 mentorship sessions, which is, if it's 1 hour each, it's 48 hours in total. And we had Alex and Suraj actually participating in them. So Alex was more from market activation side of technology, and Suraj, he has 8 years of experience in designing and building web apps. So he was more from the technical side, providing guidance to innovators and guiding them in terms of all the different tech available and products as well. And on this, I'll hand over to Suraj to talk more about his mentorship experience and just tech in general.
Suraj, I'm not sure if anybody else is struggling to hear, but it looks like perhaps on mute. So perhaps just, Suraj, while you get the tech audio sorted and up and running, perhaps Maria, you and I can give it a little bit of an overview of the kind of mentoring and how it works, and then Suraj, hopefully when you're back online, we can hand directly back over to you. Yeah, so I guess just building on what you've already mentioned, Marina, one of the kind of key benefits that we want to provide to innovators as part of the Gravity Challenge is access to a network of people that can support them on their journey to accelerating their solutions and proposals as part of Gravity Challenge. So to do that, we have built a network of mentors from across the space sector, both internally at Deloitte and also across the market. So we have several of our delivery partners, I believe, from the ones that Maria just talked through, participating as mentors. So from the likes of Maxar and the Satellite Application Catapult, I think it's a really nice benefit for our innovators that they have access to these kind of key players in the space sector. So Suraj is actually one of the mentors from a Deloitte perspective, and I'm sure he'll introduce himself shortly. But I think it's been really valuable, as kind of Hannah touched upon, that the feedback we've had from the innovators is that this is one area that has been really important to kind of ensuring the overall experience of people going through Gravity Challenge. And the way it kind of works on a day-to-day basis is that teams that are participating in Gravity Challenge can go onto this platform that we're running the challenge on, and they can just book time in with people that they're interested in meeting, sharing ideas with, and kind of bouncing their proposals off. So I think it's been a really interesting feature, and I'm sure Maria and Alex and the team would kind of echo my thoughts on that. So Maria, I don't know if or Alex, if you've got anything you'd add to that.
I was just going to say it's been one of my favorite bits of the challenge program. When we were setting out, we had a very in-person orientated program, and then COVID changed everything, and we've gone fully digital. But it's really actually helped us to globalize and collaborate with our partners in Australia. And in the future, when we bring on Gravity 03, we'll have Japan, hopefully the US and potentially Germany participating. And the Be My App platform, which is the innovator platform you're seeing a screenshot on there, has been one of the kind of what's underpinned our ability to digitize the program. And then these mentor sessions that the platform offers have been awesome, because you can set your availability. I can see there's no availability in that screenshot, but then innovators and challenge providers, it just creates a bit of a melting pot. And actually some of the one-to-one sessions they've had have been fascinating and in their own right, and are helping the program to get the best solutions for the challenges which have been presented. So we wanted to tell you a bit about the mentorship part and the webinars and the kind of the support structure around Gravity Challenge, and then we were going to do a bit of a deep dive onto the technology side, just with it in mind that this is the Bristol Tech Fest. And Maria's talked a bit about our partnership with AWS, and we have Suraj. Are you audible now? No. Okay. Should we go to the next slide? Cool. So I'll just talk a little bit about Suraj's role, and then I think we've got a call to action. So one of the key things here, and one of the important roles for TechWorks, our creative engineering capability in Bristol, is supporting innovators with actually technically delivering the solution. And so that's Suraj's role really. And he's been providing mentorship as to if you're using AWS, which is our main technology partner, who are offering access and credits to their platforms and systems, well, how do you actually get the data from the satellite? And that could be from ground station, the AWS offering, or it could be from various third parties. And Maria's kind of mentioned like Maxar, Airbus, Pivotal. We've got a number of data providers that are in the ecosystem. And then it's a matter of like, well, how do you get that data to somewhere where you can play with it, access it? So you've got an S3 bucket in there. And then using AWS services technology to get that data to end users. I see, Suraj, you're back, gone again. So that's one of the key roles for the TechWorks. We've got a lot of technology capability and experience now in that group. And Suraj, who's a AWS architect, has been providing some guidance to innovators as to how they can technically solution their prototypes. And again, we have access, and the AWS team are fully part of this program. So they're also on hand to provide expertise and solution architecture support. Suraj, back again?
Yeah, I'm back again. But are you able to hear me guys now?
Yeah, so I've just talked a little bit about your role as a mentor, just a bit around the tech side.
Okay, so I'm really sorry guys for this technical glitch, and I'm back now. So before I tell you guys about my involvement in the Gravity Challenge, I'll brief you about myself, like who I am and what I'm doing nowadays in Deloitte. So I'm a part of TechWorks office in Bristol, and I'm a tech lead here. And I worked on a wide range of tech stacks throughout my career. I started as a Java developer, and then I moved on to working with the microservices. And then I got the opportunity to work on the integration platforms as well, which is like one of the tool is the MuleSoft. And then I worked on working as a solution architect for different cloud platforms, mostly in the AWS. And my association with the Gravity Challenge is like I'm working as a solution architect here, and where I got the opportunity to mentor different innovators, helping them out for the technical aspects, like which framework to opt for and what's the best technical tools to adopt for the challenge. And during my mentorship, I met few interesting innovators having queries regarding like mobile ground station readiness for collecting the different geospatial data, which was excited to know about, and what are the best sources to capture those specific data in different storage medium. And like as Alex told you about, like we have a different mentors in the Gravity Challenge, and I got the opportunity to mentor different innovators in the program. And all these kind of programs gives us the deep understanding of different space capabilities as well, and how these technologies can drive the UK space program in the future. And also, in addition to this, Deloitte is also doing some exciting work in expanding space sector offerings. Like we have recently come up with our own space app program, and the conceptual architecture,
how we can drive the data using the technology. And also along with the reference architecture, what Alex was showing you a few minutes back, I'll come to it. And before that, I just want to tell you guys, Deloitte is also doing some exciting work in expanding the space sector offering. Like we recently wrapped up the NHS drone delivery program, which is providing the PPE kit to the NHS key workers. So that was exciting work we recently ramped up. And you will get to know about this program in our tomorrow session. We'll be holding up another one regarding this drone delivery programs. Now I'll move on to the reference architecture, which I just made for our training plan. So here are the services on the screen. You can easily depict. We have used the AWS services. So on the left hand side, we can see we have the customer satellite, and on the bottom left, we do have a few different third-party systems where we want to capture the data and process it. So I have come up with a different approach to capture that data and to process it. So first one, I come up with the serverless approach. For this, we are using Lambda to capture the data from different third parties and processing it and then storing it in any of the storage medium. And that storage medium can either be EC2 or any database like DynamoDB. And the second one is the conventional and the most basic one, which is the EC2 machines. And using the EC2, we are capturing the data and processing them and then putting the data in the storage medium. And the third one is the new service which AWS has recently introduced, and that is specifically dedicated to the space work, which is the AWS ground station. So that AWS is this is the dedicated service for secure and faster processing of the satellite data. And we are using this as one of our options to capture the satellite imaginary data. So these are the three conventional approach I concluded in my space reference architecture, which we are using for our training plan. And then here we are using the API gateway as a bridge between the front end and the back end. So when the client sends a request goes into the backend through the API gateway. And by this, we are making it loosely coupled and also the readiness for future integration platforms. So suppose tomorrow some banks came in and they want to use our data, then simply needs to configure in our API gateway, and they will be good to go with our application. So that's how I made it loosely coupled, and it can be easily integrated with any of the different platforms. And in last, for the front end, I use the Angular application and using the cloud front for faster distribution of the different imaginary across the the space data across the globe. And so I just gave you the overview of the reference architecture, what we have used in, and the entire program, the entire technical program, we are delivering it through our Deloitte Texas office in Bristol. So that's a brief overview of the technical aspects, how we are involved in the Gravity Challenge. So now I'm hand over again back to Alex for concluding the session. Thank you, guys. Over to you, Alex.
Thanks, Suraj. Should we go next slide? Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Suraj. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Maria and Hannah. We just wanted to wrap up. Hopefully you've got a better idea of what Gravity Challenge is, why we're doing it, and some of the tech that we're using to make it happen in practice. So our call to action is, if you're an innovator or would like to participate as one, please go to the Gravity Challenge website and register. Likewise, if you're a potential challenge sponsor, a challenge provider, please also register via our website, and we'll be keen to talk to you. And if you're interested in space, please keep track of us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. There's a lot of news coming out from the program at the moment. Yeah, please stay in touch. I don't know.